Hey guys, I'm Liam Smith with Agent Smith Voice Productions. I hope you enjoyed the awesome cinematic intro. All of that archive footage was silent, and mixing all the sound effects together was loads of fun. Particularly the naval artillery sounds, which I got from World of Warships, a free-to-play naval warfare game by Wargaming. There can be no doubt that the clash between Britain's battle cruiser HMS Hood and Germany's battleship Bismarck was one of the greatest naval engagements of the Second World War. In just 10 minutes, Hood was struck and sunk in a mere 3. This short-lived victory for the Bismarck would eventually seal his fate. Incensed by the loss of Hood, a large British sortie hunted down the warship, resulting in his destruction only 3 days later. In today's video, I'll be discussing the Battle of the Denmark Strait and uncover how the mighty Bismarck sunk the pride of the Royal Navy. The mighty HMS Hood, sleek and elegant, laid down on September 1st, 1916 and commissioned into the Royal Navy on the 15th of May 1920. This beautiful warship was the embodiment of Britain's naval might. Her slender metal hull not only made her more visually impressive, but also she was capable of reaching a speed of 30 knots. Over 860 feet long, she was the largest ship in the Royal Navy and sported a striking set of 8x 15-inch BL Mark I naval guns. During the era of warship diplomacy, HMS Hood embarked on a world tour shown in this amazing section of archive footage. During the course of the tour, she received over 700,000 visitors and even docked at Hobart and Sydney in 1924. In the 1920s and mid-30s, HMS Hood was the largest and heaviest warship in the world. However, in 1936, one nation desired to shift the balance of power in their favour. Before the outbreak of the Second World War in 1939, Germany had secretly constructed a warship to rival the might of the Royal Navy. With a top speed of 30 knots, the awesome battleship Bismarck was much more modern than his British counterpart, possessing thicker armour and an impressive set of 8x 15-inch SKC-34 naval guns, the most powerful naval artillery ever mounted on a German warship. A special characteristic of these naval guns was their high muzzle velocity, low shell trajectory, and short flight path, which allowed Bismarck to obtain a very accurate and high rate of fire. He was commissioned into the Kriegsmarine on the 24th of August 1940 and soon underwent his sea trials. On the 24th of May 1941, the pride of the Royal Navy would confront the pride of the Kriegsmarine in one of the most intense naval engagements of the Second World War, the Battle of the Denmark Strait. of May 1941, the mighty Bismarck slipped from the port of Gotenhafen to begin his first operational sortie into the Atlantic, known as Operation Rheinübung, or Rhine Exercise. Accompanying him was the German heavy cruiser Prinz Eugen. Their mission was to raid convoys of merchant shipping from the North Atlantic which brought supplies to Great Britain. The two warships hoped to stealthily make their way to the Atlantic Ocean, but whilst en route to their destination, British intelligence received sighting reports of the German flotilla in the narrow stretch of water between Denmark and Sweden. The British Admiralty feared that if Bismarck was to escape, he would inflict severe losses on the merchant shipping, thereby starving Britain out of the war. Bismarck was soon spotted by a Spitfire reconnaissance aircraft whilst hiding in a Norwegian port. At Scapa Flow, HMS Hood and Prince of Wales were ordered to intercept him at the Denmark Strait. During the breakout into the Atlantic, the German flotilla encountered HMS Norfolk and Suffolk, who shadowed them with their highly advanced naval radar systems. On the evening of the 23rd of May, Bismarck was sighted at the entrance to the Denmark Strait, but slipped away again into a thick blanket of fog, and thus the pursuing ships lost contact. Then, early the next morning, the fog cleared, and HMS Hood and Prince of Wales spotted the two German warships. At 5:52 a.m., HMS Hood raised her 15-inch guns and fired. She mistook the lead ship as the Bismarck, when in actual fact she was firing at the Prinz Eugen. The Hood's Vice Admiral, Lancelot Holland, a gunnery expert, soon amended his order and directed both ships to engage the rear battleship. However, it took several minutes for this order to be relayed to the gunnery teams. At 5:55 a.m. on board the Bismarck, Admiral Lütjens withheld permission to fire, remembering his orders not to engage the British warships. But an impatient Captain Lindemans interjected and said, "I'm not letting my ship get shot out from under my arse. Open fire." Bismarck responded by firing his guns in anger. His massive 800-kilogram shells caused huge fountains of water to erupt near the British ship. Bismarck continued to unleash his second and third salvos at HMS Hood, with his fourth straddling her. Prinz Eugen was the first to score a hit on Hood's deck, starting a fire. She switched her guns on the HMS Prince of Wales, keeping her occupied. At 6 a.m., Vice Admiral Holland, aware of Hood's weak horizontal armor protection, ordered his ships to turn to port to ensure both fore and aft main guns could engage the German ships, and also reduce the range of plunging fire. However, Hood's forward guns were still trained on the Prinz Eugen, and one of her main batteries was malfunctioning. By this time, Bismarck unleashed his fifth salvo, fired in two groups, his shells straddling his target. One of these shells struck Hood in the deck, and this incredible footage, shot from the bow of the Prinz Eugen, reveals what happened next. You can see in the distance the mighty British ship simply exploding. She was ripped in half. In less than 10 minutes into the battle, the Pride of the Royal Navy was severely damaged and sank in a mere 3. Only 3 crewmen survived, and 1,415 men perished with the ship. After the sinking of the Hood, Bismarck and the Prinz Eugen continued to fire salvos at HMS Prince of Wales. Luckily, she was able to escape via orders to retreat and deploying a smokescreen, but not without sustaining heavy damage. Bismarck also received 3 hits from HMS Prince of Wales, one of which struck his bow below the waterline, causing one of his fuel tanks to leak oil. Prinz Eugen was unscathed during the battle. The loss of Hood was a huge blow to the British, and the Admiralty launched 2 boards of inquiry, but failed to get to the bottom of the mystery, which today has been a matter of speculation as to how the ship sunk so quickly. Many historians agree that one of Bismarck's shells ripped through Hood's deck armor, igniting one of her main battery magazines, which then spread to other ammunition compartments, therefore setting off the massive explosion. Next time, in my history videos, I take a look at some of the most terrifying sounds of the Dark Ages. Guys, Guys, thank you so much as always for watching. I really enjoy making these videos. And don't forget to give us a like and to subscribe for more content. You can also help support my channel by subscribing to my Patreon or donating to my PayPal. The links are in the description box down below. Finally, to my awesome subscribers, your contribution and ongoing support for this channel has been so helpful, it really means the world to me. Liam Smith with Agent Smith Voice Productions. Until then, stay tuned. I'll see you next time.